few moments, again, we're going to look at the text that was read for you today. Thank you, Elder, for the reading of the scripture. In the book of Luke, in the first chapter, starting at verse number 26. Verse number 26, it says, "In the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God into a city of Galilee named Nazareth. The virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, and of the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary. An angel came unto her and said, Hail, thou art highly favored. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among men. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. The angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God. Turn to a sister and tell her you found favor with God. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus. And he shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. The Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever. And his kingdom there shall be no end. Then said Mary unto the angel, How shall this be, saying, I know not a man? And the angel answered and said unto her, The Holy Ghost shall come upon thee. The power of the highest shall overshadow thee. Therefore also that holy thing which shall be born of thee shall be called the Son of God. And behold, thy cousin Elizabeth, she had also conceived a son in her old age. And this is the 6th month with her, who was called barren. Verse 37, and again closes. For with God nothing shall be impossible. May God add a blessing to the reading and the hearing of this anointed word. And God today have the courage to teach it. Let the people of God say amen. Amen. If you all will pray with me, amen. Definitely pray for me today. I want to use as a teaching theme, a thought, and topic, the Memoirs of Mary, the mother of Jesus. I want to talk today, and I want to teach from the Memoirs of Mary, the mother of Jesus. The term memoirs, or the word memoirs, just for record's sake, means the recording or the capturing of history of someone's personal life. And I want to talk to the mothers who are here today because as mother and as women of God, you all come from such diverse backgrounds and such diverse experiences. And one of the things that God has shown me very clearly is that one of the things that the enemy will use against us is what we don't know. I wish somebody talk to me. I'm not going to preach today. I'm going to talk to you today, but I want you to hear clearly what God is saying. One of the most dangerous things in life, Charlene, is not to know something. Because most times what I don't know, I assume. And what I assume, I every time will assume wrong.
Yep.
And because I assume wrong, I have a wrong perception of who people are.
Right.
Many times we look at a person and we look at where they are, and we assume who they are. We look at sometimes even their status or their title, Sister Shirley, or their position. And many times we will look in admiration, and it's not always a negative thing, Regina. Sometimes we will look at someone and we will admire them, Penny, for who they are or where they are. And how many of us know that we don't know what it took? I wish I had said a little bit. That we don't know what it took for them to get to where they are. And most of all, we don't know, beloved, what they're even going through even right now. Somebody say right now. Right now. We don't know even right now what they're going through. If I could for a moment, when we think about Mary, and certainly I want to set a solid foundation for my sharing, today we look at Mary and we talk about Mary. There are certainly faiths and denominations, Mother Audrey of Faith, which hold Mary in some regards in higher esteem than Jesus. And when we look at Mary as the one who was blessed, Deacon Staggs, to carry the Christ child, the Messiah of the world, the one who would save the world from their sins. But I would also remind you, and we're certainly going to walk through the book of Luke, I also remind you that this was also the same Mary who stood at the cross. The same Mary who stood there after watching her son being beat all night long. She was the same mother, Deacon Grant, who had to watch her son, even though he had been mistreated and wrongfully accused. She watched his strength as he said, "Father, forgive them. Yeah. For they know not what they do." See, motherhood is a gift from God. Something that should not, Regina, be taken lightly.
Amen.
Many times, Skylar, people will look at a woman of God, and I want to be very, very intentional today. Many times, people will look at a woman of God and will assume, Sister Berta, that they know who she is.
Well, come on, Bishop.
And not really understand what she's been through. Many times, Sister Tammy, we will interact and we will encounter each other and certain things that happen, certain ways that we communicate, certain ways that we interact with one another. How many of us know that we can take things in the immediacy of the moment and not realize that it cannot be denied that hurt people hurt people.
That's right. All right. Amen.
I wish somebody talked back to me.
That's right, Bishop.
And so I was led today, Sister Stacy, if I could embellish and attempt, Mother Audrey, to peek into and read through the memoirs, or the diary, if you will, of Mary. To assume, Jennifer, what Mary would have written if she was in modern day, and if she went through the things that she went through. Let's assume that we can read what Mary would have said and documented as to what her journey would have been. Is anybody going to say amen? Amen. Chapter 1. Pre-existence, the announcement, and the birth of Jesus. In chapter 1, verses 26 through 38, you will find the announcement of Jesus, we read and heard very clearly that Mary would have written in her diary and said, "Dear diary, I was startled today, not only by the presence of an angel, but the conversation that I had. You see, I'm the woman who does not know a man, have never known a man, and yet I'm now talking to an angel that says that I'm pregnant with a child."
Well, come on, Bishop.
Oh, you don't hear me? I'm caught between emotions. On the one hand, I'm fearful because to be with child and not to be married could come at great penalty. But at the same time, I'm perplexed because I'm wondering, how could this be? And I've never known a man. The angel obviously was able to read my thoughts. He was obviously able to read my mind because he told me, "Fear not." And then he told me that it was God himself.
Yeah.
He said it was God himself who impregnated me, and that God himself gave me this child. And he told me that I was highly favored.
Yes. Yes.
Once again, I wrestle with my emotions because on the one hand, I should be excited about being the seed bearer, the carrier, the mother of the Messiah to come, but at the same time, I'm fearful because what is Joseph going to say?
Yeah. Well, come on, Bishop.
You see, life is full of ups and downs and emotions. Life is full of unplanned, unthought out situations. Things that happen to us that have no control. But now I've just got to deal with things as they are. And that's the entry for the first day. Next entry. I'm on my way to see my cousin Elizabeth. Because see, when I was talking to the angel said that even though she had not been able to have children all this time, and even though she is of great age, somehow she's now with child. And so I started to think, and I started to ask myself the question, is there possibly some connection between what has happened in Elizabeth's life and now what has happened in my life? And there's something, as I drew closer to Elizabeth's home, as I was walking, there was something inside of me that was getting happy. I could feel a warmth. I could feel a joy. I was anticipating being able to talk to Elizabeth and to encourage her. But at the same time, I felt encouraged about being able to encourage her. Because I discovered that Elizabeth was actually on assignment. Just like I was. And you know, I never told her, and I don't know if I'll even tell her or not, but I was one of the ones that was skeptical that when she first told us that she was pregnant, I was skeptical. And even though I hadn't seen her, and I was excited when she told me, but I was skeptical. I thought maybe she was just desperate.
Well,
something amazing happened. When I got to Elizabeth's house, I came in like I always do, and I said, "Hey girl, where you at?" And all of a sudden, when she responded back, something happened on the inside of me. You see, there was a leaping on the inside. There was something jumped on me. I can feel the baby. I can feel the promise. I can feel something leaping on the inside, and I've never felt better.
Well,
So Elizabeth and I, we encouraged one another. We spoke life into one another. We laughed like we had never laughed before. And I was so happy for her. And I was grateful that she was happy for me.
Yeah.
So you know what? It was a good day. I thank God. That's the entry for day 2. Next day entry. We were traveling trying to find a place that we could have the child. We went everywhere. We tried to humble ourselves and ask people if they just had any place where we could just bed down, where we can find shelter and safety. And nobody, I couldn't believe it, nobody would open their doors to us. Joseph was getting frustrated, he was getting angry, and I tried to keep him calm because the more upset he got, the more frustrated he got. It put stress on me. And I could feel the baby being stressed because he was stressed, and I was stressed because he was stressed. But I didn't. I understood what he was frustrated about because I couldn't understand. Here I am with a child. You would think that somebody would be kind enough to allow us at least a little shelter, but nobody.
nobody.
Nobody goes for us.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever known what it's been like to have somebody tell you no when you were in need. I don't know if you know what it feels like to have somebody close the door on you when you feel like you don't have any other option past that no.
Yes, yes.
And the worst thing was, we didn't even know where we were going. But we knew we had to keep on moving.
Right.
And so we finally got to a place and we asked the gentleman, could we go into your barn? Could we go into the stable? And we won't be of any distraction to anybody. You won't even know that we're there. We will be comfortable being with the animals. And what do you know? The man was kind enough to say yes.
Yes.
And you know, I never have been so excited about so little. I never knew how significant something so small was.
Come on, Bishop.
But I found myself excited, and I found myself being at peace. And as I was at peace, Joseph was now at peace. And Joseph, I could see him beaming. I could see him just anticipating the coming of his first child. You know, we really talked a lot on the way, and we talked about the conversation that I had with the angel, and we talked about how this is a miracle, and you know, sometimes the conversation got a little strained, but you know, we were okay, and you know, we talked it out and we made it through, but now we were at a point where we were both excited. And so it was time for the baby to come. And out of nowhere, out of surprise, you know, I didn't even think anybody even knew me. I come from nothing.
Yeah.
But to my surprise, there were 3 kings.
Well,
3 wise. I was blown away. Three kings to come see me.
yes.
My excitement was put in perspective. And they were here to see me, but they were really here to see the new king.
Yes. Well, all right now.
And then a heavenly host appeared, and they were singing, and they were praising. And do you know they gave me gold, and they gave us frankincense, they gave us myrrh? I had no idea why they would give us such broad gifts. I didn't, you know, what do these gifts even mean? But we were grateful to get anything.
Yes.
After all, we were people who had nothing.
Right.
right. Right.
End of chapter 1. Chapter 2. The period of preparation. Entry 1. Our son Jesus is now of age, and it's time to take him to the priest's home to be dedicated. You know, it is the custom and the tradition of this time that the male child is to be circumcised and properly presented back to the God in which he came from. And so we took him to the man of God, and the man of God took him into his arms, and it was a wonderful and glorious day. And we were now celebrating the birth of our son. He's now coming of age, and he's an amazing child. There's something special about him. Anybody ever felt something special about your child?
Yes.
And so I want to just tell God thank you today for this day.
Thank you, Lord.
Because it's been a good day.
Yes.
And we were blessed to be able to give back to him what he gave to us.
Yes, Lord.
Close of entry. Second entry. We were traveling, Joseph and I, and Jesus, we were traveling and we were going down. It was a time of taxation, and we were traveling and we were going to do that which was responsible of adults. We were going to pay our taxes and to celebrate and do those things that we do. And when we arrived to the city, we were getting ready to bear down for the day, and then we noticed there was no Jesus. How is it possible that we could have traveled all this way? I asked Joseph, have you seen Jesus? And he said, no, I thought he was with you. And I said, how could he be with me? I was with you the whole time. And he said, well, I was with you. So we became frantic, and we started to backtrack, and we were looking here and there, and we were looking every place. We could not find Jesus, and just like a mother, now I became panicked. I was worried. I thought, how could something happen to my son? How could I have been so negligent? How could I have been so irresponsible to allow my son? How could I not notice that he was not with me? What was I thinking about? And so we looked everywhere, and then we went to the temple. We said, let's look in the temple and see if maybe somebody took him, found him, and took him to the temple. When we got to the temple, whoop. He said, did you hear what he said to them? Joseph, did you hear that question he asked? These are doctors and scholars. Is that our son? Asking those types of questions. Well, maybe I shouldn't be quite so hard. Come on, Jesus, we got to go. Entry for the second day. Chapter 3. The period of inauguration. Jesus was traveling, preparing now, as I find out, to be introduced to the world. I had enjoyed having them all to myself. I think I was a great mother. I certainly never made the mistake to lose him again. He was an unbelievable son, brilliant mind, such a loving heart, and he was so obedient. If I could say he was the perfect child. But little did I know that today was the day that he was going to be announced to the whole world. You see, Jesus was walking down the hill, and John, his cousin, was baptizing in the river Jordan. And as John was baptizing, Jesus walked towards the water, and John saw him coming and said, "Behold the Lamb of God that comes to take away the sins of the world."
Yeah, yeah.
And he said it like a mighty trumpet, like he was announcing a king, like he was announcing royalty, like he was announcing the Messiah. And you know, Diary, I never felt more proud. But again, I found myself with mixed emotions. I just want him to be my baby. I just want him to be Jesus. I just want him to be my son. There's all this Messiah. There's all this Savior of the world stuff. He's just Jesus. And so I stood to the side and I listened to the conversation between Jesus and John. And Jesus walked up to John and said, "John, will you baptize me?" And John said, No. I can't baptize you. You are the Son of God. But Jesus got a serious look on his face and he said, "John, make it so." He said, "This is the will of my Father." And so his cousin John, out of obedience, he baptized him. And the Bible said that when he baptized him, when he came up out of the water, the heavens opened.
Yeah.
And I was stunned, I was blown away, because here I am standing there, I'm watching a dove, beautiful, radiant white dove. It descended out of the clouds, out of the heavens, and it came and it rested on the shoulder of my son, Jesus. And at the same time that the dove rested on his shoulder, there was this loud, booming voice that said, Behold, this is my son." And you know what? I was blown away because I didn't see who was talking, but there was something familiar. There was something familiar about that voice. It was like I knew that voice, I've known that voice, like that voice is relevant to me. But I heard that voice say, "This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. Obey him." End of day entry. Jesus now was traveling here and there and sharing and teaching. And Joseph and I are so proud of him, and we're hearing just great things about the things that he was doing. And I must say, Diary, it's a comforting thing as a mother to be able to get a good report about what your children are doing. And so it was a good day. But I became disturbed and concerned. You see, my son Jesus decided to fast for 40 days. And after fasting for 40 days, I'm told that the Spirit of God ushered him into the wilderness, only to meet Satan. I have to be honest, I never imagined my son encountering Satan. My son is so good, I never imagined him encountering evil. Why would he ever have a need to encounter evil? He had never done anybody any harm. He had never done anything wrong. Why would he encounter evil? I was told later that the devil himself encountered him and said, "If you be the Son of God, throw yourself off of the cliff."
Yeah.
I tell you, that devil's a trickster. told him the angels have charged to save you. They won't let any harm come to you. You the Son of God. And I heard about his antics. I heard about his ways. And he was in rare form, evidently, because he tried to offer my son the world. And you know what? He doesn't own anything.
That's it.
And I had to just laugh to myself. How can you offer somebody something that you don't even own?
That's good.
But I thank God that my son was wise enough to see through that and told him, get behind me, son. That's the boy that I raised. That's the boy that I knew. No fool. Turn to somebody and say, no foolishness.
No foolishness.
No foolishness. Get behind me. Entry ended for the day. Somebody say amen. Amen. Chapter 4, we're almost done. The early Judean ministry. Jesus now goes to Galilee. I heard that he was going there intentionally to do some work, but there was great need in Galilee. There was great anguish. There was some confusion and conflict about what was truth. And so Jesus, my son, was going to Galilee to spread the good news, to bring clarity to the unsaved. But I became concerned. For it was reported to me that though he came to do good, those who were there to receive him did not have good intentions. I was now a concerned mother. I was concerned for the safety of my son. How could a boy who had never done any wrong, who only attempted to be good, how could he not be received in his own country? You see, I forgot to mention, and I want to remind you, we're from this place. We're from this area. We're not strangers there. But how is it possible that a man returning back to his own home cannot be received? I would imagine that because of his age now, no, he's not the baby, he's not that cute little bouncy baby that was born in this region, but he still is Jesus. Question: how is it possible for somebody not to receive Jesus? End of entry for the day. Chapter 5. The early Galatian ministry. My son Jesus, now being of age, it has been reported that now he's working great miracles. I was told that at one point in time that he healed a man who was lame.
Yeah.
I'm so proud. As a mother, I heard that there was a man who was blind from birth. And he was able to spit on the ground. Now that kind of grossed me out a little bit. But he was an unorthodox child. But it was said that he spit on the ground and he took the clay that he made from his spittle and he put it on the man's eyes. And the man was able to see. I was told that there was a funeral procession. That there was a funeral procession, and he stopped the funeral procession only to bring the child that was dead back to life.
That's all right.
Who wouldn't be proud of a son like that? And then if that wasn't enough, I really was excited, and I really was a proud mother because I heard that there were 5,000 people. Well, actually, 5,000 men. They didn't, back then, you know, didn't count women and children, but there were 5,000 plus people, and my son fed them all.
All right. Yes.
Off of 2 fish,
Yes.
5 loaves of bread. I could not have been prouder as a mother. You see, my son was doing great miracles. I love my son. And I'm grateful that the world now loves him. Close of entry for the day. There was a party going on at Peter's house. And my son Jesus was one of the guests of honor. My understanding was that the finest of fine were there. Society's best were in attendance. It was one of those invitation-only parties. You couldn't have just been driving through the neighborhood. Most people weren't even invited to this neighborhood. Because I heard it was gated. But my son Jesus was at this party, and I heard there's something both unusual and troubling happening. You see, a woman in red showed up. And did I forget to mention that this was a black tie affair? Did I forget to mention that this was a black tie social, that it was just black and silver and sequin? But there was a lady in red that showed up. She showed up with a box in her hand. And it said that she broke the box only to take that ointment, that substance that was in the box, and she began to wash my son's feet. Right in the presence of all these dignitaries, all these great officials, all the high society. You see, and that might not have been a troubling thing because, you know, feet washing was common, but it was that woman. She was that woman. And my understanding was that some of the dignitaries, some of the men, some of the husbands were kind of nervous. Y'all understand that? That when they saw her coming, they tried to get security to stop her before she was able to get in, but it was too late. So it was said that they didn't know what she was going to say, what she was going to do. And so when she began to wash Jesus' feet, my son's feet, they say that she began to cry. And that with her tears, she began to wash. And she took her hair and began to dry his feet. Said that they were angry, upset. They were frustrated. They were wondering why she would do this. Why was she even here? You weren't even invited. How did you even get in this place? But my son, being the type of man he was very appreciative. He showed her great love and compassion. Entry ended for the day. Let the church say amen. Amen. Chapter 6. The period of retirement. My son Jesus had, by this time now, recruited 12 men to travel with him. He called them disciples. I came to understand that a disciple was a follower, was a learner. I was amazed and yet intrigued because I'm saying, who is my son that somebody wants to learn about him? And I have to remind myself from time to time that he is the Messiah.
Yeah.
You see, sometimes I even forget who he is. Sometimes I even forget what he came here to do.
Wow.
And so he was traveling with these 12 disciples, and so he decided to have a meal. He called it the last meal. I don't know why he would call it that. Something about it being the Last Supper. At the meal, he began to tell his disciples that this was going to be the last meal that he was going to have with them. At this meal, he did what was demonstrated for him, and yet what was unthinkable, because he's the Messiah, but he now began to wash his disciples' feet. I heard that Peter had told him he would never allow him to wash his feet, only to tell Peter, Peter, if I don't wash your feet, you don't have no part with me. You know, Peter always was a loudmouth. Speaking out of turn about something.
Yeah.
Bible said that my son Jesus made a startling announcement. That not only was this the last meal that he was going to have with them, but he said that somebody at the table was going to betray him and that he was going to die. You could not imagine the horror that I felt. What do you mean you're going to die? What do you mean somebody's going to betray you? You've been faithful to these men. You've taught them. You've mentored them. You've protected them. You've empowered them. How is it possible that one of them would even think about betraying you? I heard that a commotion broke out when he made the announcement, and that they were asking each other, and it was one of those things where they were asking and accusing at the same time. Is it you? Is it you? I know it's not me. Is it you? Are you the one? But I had a hard time believing that any of them would betray someone who had been so faithful to them. And then now I was challenged with new emotions, because all of this time, leading up to this time, all I knew is what it was like to enjoy being a mother. All I knew to this point was the joy, the happiness, the being grateful. I'm the one that God chose to carry the Messiah. What is this? Somebody saying that somebody's going to kill my child. And then I got startling news. I got news that immediately after the meal, they went to a place, I think it was called, oh, that's right, it was called Gethsemane. And they were there, and my son Jesus asked 3 of his most faithful disciples, asked them, said, hey, will you guys come pray with me? Because he was a praying son. I tell you, that boy, Jesus, I tell you, even when Joseph and I didn't feel like praying, he'd go off by himself and be praying. And he asked me, he said, will you guys go and pray with me? And so they went off to pray, and he said, you guys wait here. And I heard he went a little bit further and prayed, and when he came back, they were asleep. And he asked me, he said, can't you guys pray with me just an hour? Went to pray again, came back and sleep again. But my worst nightmare came to pass. You see, while my son Jesus was there in the Garden of Gethsemane, so one of his disciples, Judas, showed up, and he had some men with him that were not of their clan. They were actually Romans, and they saw them coming, and so the disciples got to a point of alert and disturbance and wondered, what is the Romans doing here in the Garden of Gethsemane? And Judas, why are you with the Romans? We don't have dealings with the Romans. And to make matters worse, it said that Judas came up to my son and kissed him on the cheek.
Right.
And I was only to discover after the fact that that was really his way of letting them know who my son was. And to make matters worse, he sold my son out for 30 pieces of silver. And I began to ask the question to myself, and I began to ponder, what is the price for your soul? You see, I came to discover that day that people have a price, that people will sell out for a price. That just when you think that people are honorable and that people are trustworthy, that you can give your all to people, I found out, Donnie, that people have a price. And Judas' price was 30 pieces of silver. And my worries moved from being worries to being my greatest horror. You see, because what happened was they immediately took my son from Gethsemane and they took him to jail. And they were charging him falsely. They had people that they got to lie on him and make false testimony against him about things that he had said and things that he had done. They took him to Herod. They took him to Herod to charge him with these charges, and Herod didn't want to have anything to do with it. So take him to Pilate. Took him to Pilate, and got before Pilate and said, no. But I'll tell you what. Pilate said, I'll let the people decide. And I have to believe, Diary, that Pilate did that because he was looking for a way, because he knew that my child had done no wrong. And he was looking for a way out for himself and for my son.
Yeah.
Because surely the people because remember he had raised the sick and he had healed the sick and raised the dead and fed the multitude. He had given sight to the blind. He made those who were lame able to walk again. He had done all of these. So surely if the people were asked, the people would free my son. And Pilate had to know this. And so, smart man, Pilate. I'll let the people free. But the unthinkable happened. And I wish I could have been there. See, I got the report after the fact. And I showed up, but I showed up too late. Because by the time the news came to me, what I was told was that when Pilate asked the people, that the same people who a few days earlier were calling him Hosanna, the same people had said that when he came into the city, riding on a donkey, it said that they laid palms before him, that he was honored, that he was reverenced as the Messiah.
Yeah.
It was the same people who now said, give us Barabbas.
Same people.
And you know what? I wish I would have been there. Because I went up to the guy who was given sight again and said, how dare you? You were blind, and you mean that you were now? And I go to the one who was lame and say, how dare you? You were lame. who sat by the pool 38 years.
Yeah.
And my son walked past everybody. I heard there were multitudes of people around the pool of Bethesda. And he walked past all of them just to give him his blessing. And I sure wish I could have seen that woman. I'd tell you, I'd have gave her a piece of my mind. You have been bleeding 12 years.
Yeah.
Went to every doctor there was. Spent all your money.
All your money.
As soon as you heard my son was in town, you climbed over people. I heard you were stepping on people's shoes. Didn't care who was in your way.
Yeah, right.
And my son healed you.
Right.
And you stand there, have the audacity to say, "Give me Barabbas."
That's what he said.
And when I showed up, it was almost too late. I couldn't even recognize my baby. They had beat him so bad that I couldn't even recognize him. He had been swollen and bleeding all night long. They had spit on him. They had kicked him. They had taken a crown of thorns just to mock him. They put a crown of thorns, said, "Okay, you the King of Kings." And then they pressed the thorns into his head, and his head was bleeding.
Yeah.
They used whips, and they ripped his flesh open. This was my baby. This was a gift that God himself gave me, and now he was bleeding. He was suffering.
Jesus.
About the time I was able to climb up that hill, they told me it was on this hill called Golgotha. I was crying every step of the way up the hill. Only to discover that when I got to the crest of the hill, there was my son hanging on the cross. And I got there in time to hear the conversation. There was somebody hanging on the left side of him, another person hanging on the right side of him, and the one that was on the left side told him to come down off of the cross and save himself and to save them too. A selfish person. Here is my son dying just like you dying, and you worried about saving your own self.
Well,
I heard the other guy say, "This man has done no wrong."
no wrong.
And then I heard my son say, "Father, forgive me."
All right.
And Dara, I gotta admit, it took everything in me. Because if it was me, I'd let them all go to hell.
That's real right there.
I heard my son say, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And they were laughing, and there were groups that were mocking him, and there were others who were calling out, "So you the so-called Messiah, huh?" That's my baby. And then he looked down, and through drops of blood streaming down his face, he looked down at me and he said, "Woman, behold thy son." He said, "Son, behold thy mother." What do you mean you're giving me away? Giving me away to who? Giving me away how? worry about me. I'm concerned about you, son. And then I heard him say, I thirst.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of giving him water, they gave him vinegar. See, folks can be so cruel when you're in pain. Because see, what vinegar will do, it will numb. It will allow you to endure the pain just that much longer. But I'm grateful that he didn't take it. And I stood there and I watched my son take his last breath. The child that I had born, the son that I raised, he took his last breath and he died. Mm-hmm. And all these people we did so much for, they had no remorse. You see, an amazing thing happened. The sun hid itself, and it was dark from the third until the ninth hour. There was an earthquake that shook every place, and it began to rain. And all I can do is just put my face in my hands and weep, because my son was gone. There was nobody there to console me. There was nobody who even cared. And if that wasn't bad enough, a soldier came just to make sure that he was dead and pierced him in the side. And forthwith came there out blood and water. I went home. I cried all night long. I called my cousin Elizabeth. And I called Mary. Because she was the only one that was faithful to him when I wasn't around. And on the first day of the week, I told her we're going to go down and we're going to get my son's body. We're going to prepare it appropriately for burial. So the first day of the week came, and we're traveling down to anoint Jesus and prepare him for burial. And we got to thinking when we got about halfway there, and Elizabeth says to me, says, how are we going to move that boulder? I understand that they put a rock in front of the tomb. We just kept on going. I talked to Mary and I said, well, we're going to have to ask and see if somebody will give us permission or somebody will help us to move it. She said, there's no way. We don't even have a guarantee they're even going to let us see his body. As we came around the corner, we got to where his tomb was, we discovered that there was no longer a rock in front of the tomb.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know whether to be excited. I didn't know whether to be startled or concerned. But we walked inside, and when we walked inside, we were careful when we walked in because we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going to happen, and so we were careful to walk inside. And when we walked in, we saw an angel. And the angel asked us, said, why are you looking for that which lives among the dead? For he is risen.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus.
And I didn't know how to feel because I saw my son die.
Yes.
I didn't know what to think. I saw my son die. But over to the side, I saw his grave clothes, the very clothes that they wrapped him in. I saw them over there, and they were folded up to the side.
Yeah.
And so the angel told us, say, go tell his disciples that he rose just like he said he would.
Come on now.
And when I got to the upper room, guess who was there?
Well,
Yes.
yes.
It was my son Jesus.
Yes.
And he was talking to the disciples. And he was telling them that all power in heaven and earth was in his hand. He was telling them that he had conquered both death and the grave. And then he told them, greater things than this shall you do in my name.
Yes.
But then I heard him say, I'm going to prepare a place.
Yes. Thank you, Lord.
And after everything that I had been through, there was an unusual sense of peace that came over me. When he said he was going away, I didn't feel like I was losing something again. When he said I'm going away, I didn't feel like I was losing again. I didn't feel like something bad was happening. I felt like now this was the completion of everything that my son came to do.
Yes. Yes.
He told all of us, he said, I'm going to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place, I'm coming again. He said, in my Father's house are many mansions. And if were I so, I would not have told you. Last entry. I've now learned that it's best to have loved and lost
Yeah.
than never to have loved at all. You see, now every day is a day of anxious awaiting for the return of my son.
Yes. Yes.
I woke up again this morning excited, but yet anxious, wondering, is today the day that I'll see him? Is today the day that he's going to come back? Is today? He told me that I'll hear a trumpet.
Yes.
So I woke up today wondering, will I hear the trump sound today? But I have to keep myself under control because he said, no man knows the day nor the hour.
Yes.
Final entry. I want to just tell God thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
I want to just tell God thank you for the privilege of
Thank
being a
you,
mother.
Mm.
And that though this journey was an unbelievable roller coaster full of great highs and tremendous lows, I wouldn't have traded it for anything in the world. Because I can look back and remember the joy that I felt when I was given that gift, that child. I remember what it was like seeing him mature and coming to maturity, being a young man. I remember what it was like getting great reports about the things that he was doing. I remember what it was like to be fearful and worried, wondering what will happen to my child. I also remember the pain and the horror of watching my son die. But now I'm left with eternal expectation of him coming back. And knowing that one day we're going to be a place where there'll be no more death. That there'll be no more pain. That there'll be no more sorrow.
Yes.
Every head bowed. We thank God for the life of Mary. But more than that, we thank God for the life of Jesus. Motherhood is not something to be taken lightly. Don't forget about your journey.
Yes.
be sensitive to the fact that every mother has a different journey. Don't forget that your life has been full of great highs, but also tremendous lows.
Yes.
Don't be surprised that the things that you hold so dear, so precious, can be taken away from you at a moment's notice. But we have to learn how to tell God thank you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you for choosing me. I want to speak to every mother in here today and to remind you that you are highly favored of God. That God chose you, that He handmade you in the womb of your mother. Now, He was very intentional preparing you for a great assignment, but I want to remind you that your assignment is not done. That your work is not done. That in spite of the highs and the lows, that God still has a plan and a purpose for your life. Every head bowed. I want to close today by praying for every mother in here. I want to close by praying for every woman in this place today. Spirit of the living God, I need you to move right now.
Yes, right now, Lord, in the name of Jesus.
I lift every woman under the sound of my voice up to you today.
Yes.
Every mother in this place, I lift her to you today. Every potential mother, I lift her up to you today. Thank you for choosing them to be the seed bearers of life. Thank you for wonderfully making them and choosing them to share in the life process with you, for you are the giver of life. Father, I ask that your spirit will be with them. That love will continue to manifest, that they will be able to see more likeness than difference. That they will continue to grow in being able to speak life to one another. That they will elevate above making assumptions about somebody's journey. Remind them, oh God, that you said that we ought not lean to our own understanding, but in all our ways to acknowledge you. Help them, oh God, in those times that they don't know or don't understand, that they will come to you and say, Lord, help me to see my sister. Most of all, God, I want to pray for the spirit of discernment. Let it come alive in this house once again. Help my sisters, help these mothers, help these women. Help them through the moving of your spirit and their relationship with your spirit, your presence, God. Help them to be able to discern the need of another. Help them to be sensitive to what you're trying to do. Help them to be sensitive to what's important to you, God, in the immediacy of the moment. I pray for victory in each household. Release appropriate provision right now. For you said that you'll supply our every need according to your riches and glory. But the greatest thing that we're in need of, God, is your presence. Thank you that you said that you'll never leave us nor forsake us. We love you, Master, but thank you for loving us the more. We pray now in agreement and believe it cannot be any other way. In the name of your Son, Jesus, let the people of God say amen. 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 Come on, give God a hand for the